So how many of you guys have seen this picture before? So what this picture shows is how a neurotypical person's eyes are focused versus someone who is on the autism spectrum. I think it's fairly common knowledge that people with autism spectrum disorder often have difficulty maintaining eye contact. Of course, this doesn't apply to everyone, but it's fairly common. Even when I make my videos, my eyes are usually going all over the place, or I'm just staring at the camera. And usually when I'm staring at the camera, it's kind of a result of me taking about 4 or 5 takes. But just in general, people on the spectrum tend to focus on different things when we're looking at people. We're less likely to focus on the eyes, hand gestures. I mean, you guys probably have met someone who they're just not very good with eye contact. That doesn't mean they're automatically on the spectrum. But it is interesting because there's been a test developed to identify children, I believe as young as 16 months, who are on the spectrum just by tracking their eye movement. So where am I going with this? I think in general, people on the spectrum, or many people on the spectrum, may focus on different things. We see, what we listen to, what we smell, for various reasons that neurotypical people don't focus on. And for this reason, you may make connections that neurotypical people don't make. Notice things that neurotypical people don't notice. Let me be clear here. There are plenty of things that I don't notice that everyone else in the room would notice immediately, things that would seem obvious. So the result of this is that you'll say a thing to a person and they'll be surprised that you noticed that you made that connection. And you've probably seen that scene in the movie where the guy's flirting with the woman because he's able to make all these connections by looking at what her jewelry is, her clothes, how she speaks, all of this stuff. I mean, master top level flirting. And she's completely turned on by it because like he sees her or something like that. She's all like hot and bothered, and she ends up giving the guy her number because he just noticed something that the typical guy didn't notice. Yeah, but here's the reality. When you point out things to people that isn't obvious to everyone, including that person, often kind of creeps them out, especially when you add on top of it that just the very way you socialize with people is a little off. I can't tell you how many times I've asked somebody a question like, did you used to be in the military? Are you a medical professional? Do you like to, I don't know, sew? And they'll be like, yes. And then they'll ask, how do you know? And I'll tell them. And to me, it just seems a sense of this kind of logical connections based on observations of how they're dressed, how they're speaking, whatever. And you can just see them feeling even more uncomfortable and uneasy even after the explanation. So yeah, people don't think it's sexy and cool like it is in the movie. Sometimes it just creeps them out.